Why is JavaScript state management hard with dynamic HTML? Imagine trying to keep a bunch of spinning plates balanced while the floor keeps shifting beneath you. That's what managing JavaScript state feels like when working with dynamic HTML. When you change the content on a web page on the fly, the document object model or DOM, which is how the browser organizes all the HTML elements, keeps changing. This makes it tricky to keep track of what the user sees and what your JavaScript code thinks is happening. Think of the DOM as a tree of nodes, with each element like a branch or leaf. When you add new elements or change existing ones, you're reshaping that tree. Now, your JavaScript code often stores information about what's on the page, like which buttons are clicked or which items are visible. But if the DOM changes without updating this stored information, your code gets out of sync. This can cause bugs, like buttons not working or content not updating correctly. Updating the DOM repeatedly can also slow things down. Every time you change the HTML, the browser has to re-render parts of the page. If your code updates the state too often, it can make the page sluggish. Frameworks like React try to fix this by only updating what's necessary, but even then, managing when and how to update can be complicated. Another challenge is when multiple parts of your page depend on shared data. For example, toggling a menu, filling out a form, or switching themes all relying on a common state. When one part changes, others need to update too. Coordinating these updates without causing conflicts or bugs takes careful planning. Directly changing the DOM with JavaScript can be quick for small tasks, but as your project grows, it becomes error-prone. Modern tools prefer a declarative approach, where the UI is a reflection of the current state. But this means you need to design your code so that the state and the DOM stay aligned. If not, you risk ending up with a UI that shows outdated or incorrect information. Event handling adds to the complexity. When you create or remove elements dynamically, you might need to reattach event listeners or use event delegation. This makes sure user interactions work smoothly, but it also adds another layer of complexity to keeping everything in sync. In web development, especially when learning JavaScript and DOM manipulation, it's important to remember to cache DOM references. This saves time and resources. Using events like DOM content loaded ensures the page is ready before you start changing things. For performance, sometimes direct DOM updates are better than re-rendering large parts of the page. Frameworks and libraries can help manage state declaratively, but understanding their trade-offs is key. The main point is to create clear patterns for updating your UI and keeping your JavaScript state and HTML content aligned. This ongoing balancing act is what makes managing state with dynamic HTML so challenging, but mastering it leads to more responsive and reliable web pages.